Hi, good evening, everybody. We want to welcome you once again to Shekinah Glory Cathedral's Be Your Own Boss series. I don't know about you, but this series has been such a positive impact for me, for my business. I've heard from many people saying how this series has either motivated them to get started, it has re-energized them, it's given them some ideas. So I want you to go ahead, take a moment to hit the share button, hit the like button, and please, please, please share this feed with somebody. We are truly interested in helping entrepreneurs, potential entrepreneurs, those who are feeling like maybe they're stuck and they need some motivation to get started. But we are really excited that you have joined with us on tonight. And speaking of being excited that you joined with us, Pastor Shaw is with us tonight. Pastor Shaw, hey, good evening.
Hey, so glad to be with you tonight. I'm excited because this is our last night, last Tuesday of this series that I hope everyone has been enjoying and has taken advantage of these empowerment sessions that's given tools and strategies and so much imperative information that most people would pay top dollar to go to conferences and to register and pay so much money to have this type of wealth of information given to them free of charge. And so I'm just grateful for our church being a part of these empowerment series and offering these empowerment sessions. And thank you, Lady Shaw, who have expedited and been the coordinator, and you have allowed God to use you to bring certain people into this discussion, into these empowerment sessions. So thank you so very much. You have been, you are invaluable. We appreciate you. The community is better. Businesses are better. People are better because you have taken time to pour and impart into others. And so I want to appreciate you. Let me just say this, a shameless plug. If you missed Sunday's message, I need you to go back because many of you, probably celebrating your father, or maybe you missed Sunday's message, but there's a young man that needs to hear Sunday's message. Your nephew, your uncle, your father, maybe a brother, a cousin, just another young man that you may know. You need to share Sunday's message with them because it was so empowering. We talked about when the Father remembers his promise. But after I went back and looked at that message and I listened to it again, I think I want to change the sermon topic. I want to talk about, I want to change it to, I see a Moses inside of you. There's a Moses inside of you. And I speak to all of our men, our Black and brown men, and let them know that there's a Moses, there's a deliverer, there's a conqueror, there is an engineer, the one that has the ingenuity, the creative mind, the leader that's within them. And so I'm just saying, and let me just broaden that, not only to our men, but to all of our women, because I saw one of our associate pastors say that there's a Moses inside of her as well. So I want to include all of our ladies as well, that there's a Moses inside of them. So go back and watch that message. And then if I can, First Lady, I know you're going to talk about it later, concerning this coming Sunday. I know that many people are going to probably give me some type of, don't email me, don't give me bad comments, that this Sunday, we've coined the phrase Sunday is Essential Workers Sunday. We have included in our celebration and worship experience this coming Sunday, we want to celebrate all essential workers, those that are going back to work or have gone back to work. But I also want to include, I have to say it, that all of our Black-owned businesses are essential. You are essential because many of you, when you had to shut down, you lost income for your family, but also you probably had to lay off some other people that you were employing. So I want to say that the Black-owned business is essential because you give to the community, you give opportunities, you empower, you educate, you include and employ other Black and brown personnel. And so when things happen in the economy, it affects you, but it also, whatever happens to you affects our entire community. So I want to say you are essential, whether you work in the industry that you are here, you're a barber, or some type of, you do hair, maybe you work in the restaurant industry, whatever industry that you have in your business, you are essential. I'm going to say it. You are essential. The Black owned business. So Sunday is going to be Essential Worker Sunday. So I want to just share that with everybody, to wear your t-shirt that has your business, that you want to represent someone else's business, you want to represent yours. And so First Lady is going to give you more information on that towards the end of this broadcast. So again, I'm excited, and I want to appreciate all the ladies that will be joining with us tonight. And thank you so much for giving time out of your schedule to impart knowledge and these empowerment series that you are part of. And the impartation that you're going to give to our listening audience tonight is going to be so invaluable, so important. And so I want to appreciate you so very much. So I'm excited about it. I'm not going to take up any more of your time. And I'm just elated to see the testimonies, the birthing, what is going to be birthed out from these empowerment sessions, and how many people are going to start their business, how many businesses are going to grow because of these series. So I'm just looking forward to hearing the outcome, the evidence, the effects of what is taking place. So thank you so much. I'm ready. I have my pen. I have my paper. I am ready to download everything that is going to be said tonight, because I believe that it could be applied to all businesses in all areas of life, even when concerning branding and getting your name out there, so forth and so on, and how to do it, and even concerning our church and our ministry. So I'm just grateful. I believe that we have the best church in the world, because we are not just encouraging, but we're giving life, we're giving impartation, because we want to see, as I've said it before, I'm going to say it again, when we come out of this pandemic, when we come out of this, these situations of social injustices, and we see the marches and the protests, when they end, and we see change and laws reformed, and statues are being torn down, and monuments are being destroyed, and all these things that are beginning to take place because that change and justice is on the way, and reform. I believe that Black Wall Street is going to be all over America, not just Tulsa, Oklahoma, that took place in 1921. But every city in America, I declare it and decree it, I prophesy it, is going to turn into Black Wall Street. We're going to see it, we're going to experience it, and we're going to see wealth, exponential wealth and prosperity all over America in our Black and brown community. So thank you so much. We appreciate you, love you so much. And thank you, Lady Shaw, for being a part of this catalyst that's going to launch us and thrust us into a greater future. So God bless you.
Amen. Thank you so much, Pastor Shaw, for those encouraging words. We too are looking forward to what is getting ready to manifest, because we are taking the time to learn what it is that we need to do to grow and expand our business. So yes, sir. We will see you on Sunday, Pastor.
Yes, yes.
All right. I'm so excited, you guys. I've been dreaming about tonight. I've been thinking and planning, and I've got my pad and my pen, and I'm ready. So let me first introduce our special guest for tonight. We have the Amber LaShawn of Brand Girl Magic. Wave at us. Hi, Amber. How are you?
How are you?
Oh, you just don't know. You just don't know. I'm ecstatic. And we have the Chanel from Chanel Designs. How are you?
Very well.
Great. And last but certainly not least, we have Lucy. Lucy is joining us. She is a website designer with Squarespace. So thank you, ladies, so much for joining with us. Tonight, we are ready to sit back and listen. We know that the three of you all work together. You all do a lot of collaboration. And so I'm just going to jump right on in and let's get started. Amber, tell us, what is it that you do? You're a brand strategist. How does that impact the business owner, the entrepreneur, one that's ready to get started or is kind of waiting, "Oh, I don't know what to do." Tell us, what is it that you do?
Of course. So I'm a brand strategist that helps you figure out the nuances of your business so that when it's time to figure out what content you are going to put out on social media, that is a lot easier and it's intentional. So you're not just showing up on social media like, hey, I did it. I did something, I posted. So through brand strategy and making sure that you're being intentional with your brand, we focus on what it is that you do, how you do it, what you want to be known for, and how you're going to translate that into content that resonates with the audience that you actually want to attract.
Wow, that you said a lot in a nutshell. Can we break that down a little bit? When we hear the term brand, and for me, I'm new to business, so is this a new term or is this something that's been, but we're really just now diving into the meaning of your company's brand?
So branding is as old as marketing, essentially. The thing that's happening right now is it's becoming mainstream, and it's going from just major corporations and companies to actual small businesses and solopreneurs, so people that are starting and running their businesses by themselves. It's a trickle down effect that's happening. So what was once almost reserved for, corporate entities are now coming into our small businesses. And so the best way that I can explain to you the difference between a brand and a business is anybody can have a business, and there's nothing that sets a business apart from one another. By being intentional about your brand, you are creating an experience with your ideal customers, an experience that is unique to you. And that experience goes from the moment they interact with you online to in person. If you are an in-person business, it is the emotions that your audience walks away with after interacting with your business.
And I heard you say it. You said an experience that's unique to you.
Yes.
Tell me, how do we find out our brand? Where do we even get started to find out what is unique about my business?
So the first part is to remember that you are unique, first and foremost. You are not like anybody else on this earth. And when we live in the world of social media, so it's so easy to look at other people's businesses and what other people are doing and try to imitate that, and imitating that and seeing failure in doing so. And it's because you're not looking within to who you are and staying true to yourself. Because a lot of times our brands reflect who we are. And that, especially when we're just starting out and we're by ourselves, is bringing in that piece. So that first one is being in tune with who you are. And if you don't feel like you know yourself, taking some time to really figure out what it is that you want to do, who you want to do it for, and what makes you happy. Because money is not going to make you get up every day and do your job. Entrepreneurship, there is no roadmap. Every day is different. There are ups and downs. So you've got to be thoroughly in tune with what makes you happy, not trying to just mimic what other people are doing. Speaking to that from experience. So that is very important, is knowing yourself. The second thing that's important is having an understanding of who you want to serve through your business, who you are, who your ideal customers are. Because I hear so often, well, everybody needs my product or everybody needs my service. If we look at Facebook alone, there's over 1 billion people on Facebook. There's just no way that you can attract all those people. We will be more successful if we start to count people out and get super specific about who that person is that we want to patron our business.
That is good. I'm writing. I'm writing. So you said number one, be in tune with who I am.
Yes.
And secondly, it's important to understand my ideal customer.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Now you said something, and I kind of want to, like I said, I want to bounce off each other tonight. You talked a little bit about sometimes we look at other companies and we start to imitate what they do, what they have, what they look like. Can you kind of speak to that as to the importance of designing our brand to be unique to who we are?
Right. Yeah, of course. So when it comes to the brand identity and picking back off what she says is most people think it's just a logo, it's just a color palette. And how do I come up with concepts? So some may say, you know, I always tell people grab inspiration, but don't imitate. Use it to inspire you. So let's say if you see a company and you're like, well, I really like how they did that curve, or I like how their logo looks. Now you're going to take that and you're going to make it into your own, because you want your brand to have a certain look. It's about what we see and how we feel. So when I'm looking at that brand, if you wanted to imitate what a brand is, then you can say, okay, I really like how, you know, this brand's presents themselves. So now you're going to take that and you're going to say, how is my brand and how can I formulate that to then represent what I do? So it's not about imitating a brand, but it's grabbing inspiration. So you might like the color palette, you might like the texture. You know, there's different elements within a brand that someone may like and want to use that.
But where do I even begin for the person who's just getting started? Or can you speak, Chanel, to the person who's been in business for 5 years and they said, well, I never stopped to develop a logo. I never stopped to think about color palette. What is this whole color psychology? What talk to us about that, because I think it's important for our viewers to know why it's important for us to develop a unique logo.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. So when it comes to our brand identity, the reason why it's so important is many people think I have a logo, I can just go forth and prevail. But in truth be told, when you're on all social media platforms, you start to see that your messaging starts to trickle down and you're not cohesive. So when you have a steady color palette, you can then say on whether it's Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, your color palette is all the same. The images you are putting out are all the same. You want that consistency because it then makes your brand recognizable. So it's so crucial that we have, you know, when people say, well, I have a logo, well, how well is your logo created? You want to make sure. Some people are very overly complex with the logo. And one thing that I like to stress to people is simplicity is its best. So you want to be simple, you want to be very concise.
Let's pause right there, because goodness, you said a lot and all of it is powerful. And I just want that to kind of sink in a little bit. So you've already said, you've talked about color palettes. You've talked about making sure that it's consistent, making sure that everything, if it's on Facebook, it's on Instagram, it's on whatever platform we're using, that it's all the same. Can you give us an example of where we will see consistent logos? That's question number one. And then I want you to talk to recognizing your brand.
Okay. Yeah. So when it comes to other brands where you'll see a lot of consistency is I can kind of pinpoint some bigger brands that, you know, people will more recognize is when you look at Starbucks, their consistency is across the platform in their promotional material, in their Instagram, everything is concise. Target is another one. They have consistency across the board. You know Target as that red color. When you see red, you see that Target symbol, everyone knows that's Target. You know, a lot of these bigger brands, that's one thing that they're good at is the consistency across, like you don't, even if you don't have a product, you know, anything that you do, you have t-shirts, anything, you always want to stay consistent in anything you do. So like I tell people, a good rule of thumb for a logo is to, if you cannot scale it smaller than 2 inches, you have too much in your logo. It's not simple enough. So that's 2 inches. So you want to be
that's this right here.
You want to scale it down, because the only reason why is you want everything to remain clear. Because if you scale that down and if you're sending it out and there's a bunch of logos on a flyer and you can't now recognize that logo, your logo is now kicked out because no one's going to try and squint their eye, you know, just to see your logo. So you really want it to stand out. And, you know, with fonts is the same way. Everything that you do. So if you have a font that you're constantly using, you want to make sure you're bringing that over into your social media words. So if you're making a post and it has a quote, what kind of font are you using? You want people to start to recognize what your brand looks like, what your color palette is. If you go to a lot of Instagrams, you're like, okay, I can tell that person has a pink. You know, what does pink represent for my brand? You know, their color may be more of a pink subtle, pinks, whites. You know, they have a steady flow of what they're using in their brand. So that's another key thing. And a lot of people don't realize, aside from your color palette, your font, and your logo, photography is a huge thing. When you get to a brand and you see, wow, they don't have actually clear photos, it's a lot more blurry photos. Sometimes it takes away from your brand. Well, how professional are you? Have you even taken the time to, you know, invest in your brand? Where, you know, so a lot of things play a role when it comes to brand identity that I think people miss. They don't realize how important it is for your brand. I know it's, you know, I like to say it's a funnel. So first at the bottom, you have your brand strategy, and then you have your brand identity, and then you have your overall look, like your website, other visual elements at the top that kind of make up your whole entire brand. So it's not just one piece. You need it all.
I like the imagery that you gave us about how to look at it as a funnel, and the importance of knowing that it's all really connected. All of it is connected. If we want to look professional, if we want our customers to say, I want to learn more about this product, I want to learn more about this company, I want to see what else this company can offer me. A lot of it starts by what we are attracted to. And
Yes.
knowing that certain colors attract certain ideas, certain feelings, certain emotions. I feel that that's important for us business owners to realize, that it's just as important of having a business plan, having a budget. We talked about these things earlier in our series, but even the fact of what our colors look like, what the font looks like, and how all of this is interconnected to the success of our business.
And the key rule of thumb is always to remember, if you really want to have a checklist, is my brand identity distinct? Is it memorable? Is it scalable and flexible? How easy is it to apply to all my other social media platforms? And is it cohesive? So that's a good checklist to kind of go off of.
Can you read those again?
Is it distinct?
Okay, is it distinct?
Memorable?
Mm-hmm.
Scalable and flexible? So that can consider your think about your logo when you think about that. How cohesive it is across all social media platforms, and is it easy to apply? So whether you have marketing material, you want to apply it to a product, you want to apply it to a pen, how easily is everything that you've created to apply to anything, whether it's color, you know, you want to be sure it can apply in all aspects.
This is valuable information. And what I want to do, I want to pause for a moment and kind of open the floor. If we have any of our viewers that have any questions, immediate questions, you can feel free to type your questions into the comment section, and we are more than happy to ask our guest on tonight. So if you have any questions so far about color palette, you know what? While we're waiting for questions to come up, let me ask this question about color palette. Amber, you and I were talking about, the three of you have this do's and don'ts when it comes to branding and marketing. And one thing that you mentioned was we tend to sometimes, or not we, because I'm not going to put myself in there. You have noticed that customers, or business owners rather, will sometimes choose their favorite color to be their logo. My favorite, listen, I rep red, crimson, and cream every day of the week. So let me go ahead and put crimson cream on my logo. Why should we not think about our favorite colors to represent our logo?
So what with colors now, colors, it's not about what you like, it's what's going to attract your ideal audience and which is going to attract your customer. So that's something you always want to remember. And I think when it comes to that, yes, trust me, the color purple is my favorite. So I used to want to put it on everything, but you know, as I learned more about this and went to school, I realized it's not about what I like, but what is my ideal, my target audience? What is going to attract them to my brand and represent my brand? So, think of it as 4 seasons. We have summer, fall, winter, and spring. Each season represents a different feeling that we get. So it's a good rule of thumb to go off of when you're trying to figure out your color palette. So what season does your brand fall under?
Wow. Wow.
And to add on to that, I like to also take a moment and thinking about, as Chanel was saying, with how we want, what's going to attract our ideal customer, is understanding how we want our brand to be conveyed. So I like to think about it in 2 different ways, is to what are like 3 to 5 adjectives that I want to use that will describe what I want my brand to convey. And then what are 3 to 5 emotions that I want my customer to feel when they interact with my brand. And when I look at my color palette, if that does not give me those feels, then it's time to go back to the drawing board to make sure that if you have this luxury brand, a luxury brand's colors are going to look a lot different from a children's brand and what they want. It should look a lot different from a brand that is trying to be fun or boho chic, whatever feeling that you are trying to give off to describe your brand. It's all going to be different based off of what your goals are and who you want to be, and what attracts your ideal customer.
I like how you gave us that, the adjectives and the emotions, and we can kind of start there with how do I figure out where I want to go. We've had 2 comments, or 3 rather. This first question says, what is a good way to advertise your services without paying for social media promotions of ads and such?
To be consistent on social media every single day. Social media is a job for your business. That is why there are people that are dedicated to doing strictly that. If you do not want to pay for ads, you do not have to, not at all. But you do have to, in exchange for not spending the money on ads, you are spending the time to navigate what's called organic marketing. And that's you putting in the time daily or creating a schedule for yourself of saying, I am committing to, if we're talking about Instagram, I'm committing to posting to my feed 3 days a week. And I'm committing to showing up in my stories this many times a week. So you do have to trade that labor in there and be consistent. Consistent is the name of the game for branding and business, period. But being consistent and showing up every day for your business.
Hear you. Consistency. Awesome. Thank you for that. I have a follow-up question that someone asked. And before we go there, Chanel, you mentioned your favorite color being purple. Another business owner said, yeah, purple is my color too. I was just thinking about that. So thank you, they said. All right, here's a follow-up question. Besides social media, what are other ways to promote and market your business?
So I'm gonna say it's gonna depend on what your business is. If you are an online business, then ways to do that offline are going to be like in-person conferences, working to get featured in publications, good old-fashioned flyering and grassroots marketing, and showing up and seeing what, depending on, if you have a product or whatever your business is, but, good old-fashioned farmers markets and local business ventures. Networking is major, whether you are online or offline, but networking and collaborations are a great way to grow your business online or offline. So network your hiney off.
Yes, you know what? We had one of our guests last week their topic was on networking. So it's amazing how all this truly just ties in to what we've been talking about all month long. I want to join Lucy into the conversation. Lucy, I know you look like you've got just a wealth of information as it comes to website design. I must say, every time I checked out your website, every time I checked out what you have this infectious smile. So I must compliment this infectious smile that you have, but I feel that that's important to note because it draws me in to want to say, well, what does Lucy have to offer? What does Lucy's brand offer my company, my business? So I want us to take a moment to even think about, what does all of this say when we're out, when we're posting, wherever we are. This right here attracts, and sometimes it doesn't attract depending on what it is. But I just want to applaud you and say, everything that I see that has Lucy's name on it has this infectious smile, and it says, okay, Lucy, tell me, what do you do? What do you offer to entrepreneurs and business owners?
Sure. There's been a lot of great information so far, so I've been trying to take some notes. But yeah, with what Amber was saying about branding and what Chanel was saying about visuals, I feel like it's really important to have those steps before you even start working on your website. Like they were saying, it is sort of like this pyramid where you really need to know your business and who you're speaking to and what is the purpose of your website. Why do you want one? Do you want to sell something? Are you using it as an educational tool? And then from that, we need your branding elements like your logo and your colors and your fonts and how you want it to feel before we even work on the website. So all of those pieces are so important in building everything.
And yes, so we did go in order. We went from step 1, step 2 to step 3. Now I'm asking you about websites. What are some do's and some don'ts about websites? I have a website, and someone was like, yeah, you might want to do this, this, and this. And I was like, I didn't know. So give us some tips. Even Chanel mentioned about simplicity. What can we do on a website to attract? Because attention spans these days, we thought that they were short. They're even shorter now. People will click, boop, I don't need it. Boop, I don't want it. How do I attract my customer to stay on my website? And then secondly, how do I attract them to buy something, to purchase services?
Ooh, that's a good question. So for me, I think it's really important to, of course, like keep things simple, make sure pages aren't too wordy. Sometimes paragraphs get really long or they're trying to put all of this information there, but it's okay to break it up and to break it up into digestible sections. And then also, depending on what your purpose is of your site, making sure that's at the top. So when somebody lands on your page, do they understand what it is that you offer as soon as they land there? It also goes back to the photography and also showing, the purpose through your photography too. So if I go to, I guess, a sales site, with clothing, as soon as it lands, I want to see, oh, like they sell clothing. I know what I'm here for. Or if you want people to subscribe to your newsletter, making sure you put that closer to the top and maybe offering something in exchange for it. But really thinking about the order of the elements on each of your pages is really important because your website tells a story.
That's good. It tells a story. Now, what about me telling my story? Is that something that you feel is important on websites to have the business owner or the founder or the CEO? Do they need to tell their story on their website?
I think it depends on what your business is. Like if you're a big company, do you want to be the face of your company? I think oftentimes people still do want to know the story behind the business. So it could be on just the about page, and you could talk about the business and then also something from the founder. But if your business is a personal brand, then people might want to see that face sooner and connect with that sooner. Like, I think with Amber and Chanel and myself, like, we're all, I think, like personal brands kind of. So I do put my face on there a lot so people can connect with me. But if I was opening a shop with the products, I probably wouldn't put myself there, put it on a later page for people to learn more.
Okay. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Now, I want to play just a little game. I haven't done this before. So I'm going to call out a genre of business. Okay. I'm going to call out a certain type of business. And then I want the three of you to use your expertise to say how you would brand it or how you would market it, how you would design it. Okay? Are we ready?
Right.
Okay, here we go. Okay, I got one. Food trucks.
What type of food is it?
Ooh, good question. Okay, Southern. Soul food, soul food. Food truck, soul food. Okay, so I'm gonna let y'all think for 2 seconds. Amber, Chanel, and Lucy. We're gonna go in that order because I feel that's a good order to go in when we're talking about branding and design. So here we go. It's a food truck. How do you brand it? What are your thoughts?
So food truck with Southern food, already thinking about how the South operates with food and how food is comfort and reminds you of home. So I would definitely include whomever the cook is as a part of the brand, and labeling it as a personal brand is what we were talking about earlier. I would bring that in, especially if the person is personable, then that could be a great way to connect, because when people can buy from humans, that increases the likelihood of purchase. So I would probably do that there. And I would market utilizing Instagram and Facebook. So I would utilize Instagram and Facebook to both monitor the location, to continue to provide updates of where the location is in real time. It would be very easy to utilize all the features of Instagram, especially. So going live and showing customers, especially when out at festivals and such. So doing that because people want to know that other people are purchasing, because they're not going to just believe when we say it's good.
I know you're right about that.
Yeah. So I want to see that other people are in line, right? So I would do that. I'll let Chanel and Lucy go into photos more, but I am a stickler for making sure that your brand has top-notch imagery, even if you are taking it with your phone. So making sure that there are, nice high resolution images to go through on Instagram, a lot of behind the scenes footage of what's going on in the kitchen, what's being made, and just really having a consistent schedule and allowing Facebook to be a secondary platform that piggybacks off of that, because things are easily shared on Facebook. So I'd probably do that.
I want to eat. Well, I mean, you just made me want to eat some soul food, like seriously. Okay, Chanel. So she talked about comfort. Where are you going with this color design?
Right. So with the colors, I'm going for more of like mellow, like a mellow yellow, kind of like an orangey green with a tint of blue. So I really would play on the colors depending on, okay, it's Southern food. So we have to think of what kind of Southern food are you creating, that I can kind of figure out, okay, what image am I getting out of this? What feel am I getting out of this? But I would probably go for like those kind of colors, a little bit more muted, not too bright, nothing, but I do want it to stand out because it is a food truck. And a lot of times with food trucks, you're against other food trucks. So you do want your food truck to stand out. As for the logo, I'm thinking more of a text logo, but the text is not just a plain simple text. I might add a little bit of a display font for that. I may add an icon depending on exactly what kind of food they're selling. Because yes, it's a Southern truck, but what specific type of food are you selling? And how do I want to direct it? What's the name of it? Because maybe I can do a twist on the name and incorporate some kind of symbol within the name. So that's how I would work with that. As for like the menu, you still want it to be bright. You want it to be not like a bright neon, but you want the colors to pop, but yet be subtle. So that's kind of where I'm going with that sort of area. I'm thinking of more a southern tone, southern down south. You know, how is it really that mixture? So that's kind of what popped in my head.
Okay. All right, we flowing. All right, Lucy, you got this web design. This web design. What's it gonna look like?
Sure. From the first two, I think I'd really want photos on the website that tell the story behind the food truck. And also making sure to really incorporate the story and I guess the history of the food on the site as well. So there would be pictures of the food, really good pictures of the food, pictures of behind the scenes, pictures of, I don't know, like, is it soul food? Are they farming? Are they like getting their food? Putting those kinds of images on there. Sometimes I feel like food truck menus change depending on things. So I'd probably put a separate page for the menu. That way it can update easily and maybe try to incorporate a map. That way if people are going on there to see where the food truck is, it'll be there. That's what I'm thinking so far.
That's yay. So I don't know if we have any food truck people watching, but they just gave you a lot of great ideas. I got one more. Okay. We had 2 weeks ago, we had the business owner, Teresa Green, Teresa Diva Styles. She is she owns her own business. She's in paparazzi, and she is in the top, I believe it's top 10% of her company nationwide, top 10%. And so she often sells and offers jewelry. What are some branding that we can do with jewelry? What are some color palettes and website design?
This is fun. Okay, so the first thing with jewelry is I would want to know what type of jewelry it is. Is it more costume jewelry? Is it supposed to be luxury? So I'm gonna roll with costume jewelry because costume jewelry is really fun. So more like your bigger pieces to go with. So in that regard, I would think about first how I want the woman that's about to put on this jewelry, assuming that it's for women.
And they have a men's line too.
So I want to know how they're going to feel. So in that regard, which is something good to know, is that you're dealing with two different people here. You're speaking about men and you're speaking about women. So everything needs to be able to be unisex and transferable there. But you also still have to think about how you want the man to feel and how you want the woman to feel when they are putting on these pieces that you are bringing to them, what those adjectives would be. So if I was talking about the woman, I would want her to feel confident, empowered, not an adjective, but a descriptive term of like, I would want her to feel ready to conquer the day. In that, like when you look good, you feel good. Probably be something around that for both of them, honestly, with the you look good, you feel good, and making sure that both of them are walking out in that realm. So I would brainstorm it from the perspective of before somebody purchases my jewelry, they are not feeling confident. They're looking for a boost in themselves. They are looking to, when they do not have my pieces on, they are feeling like they need something more to help present themselves to society. So when they put on my jewelry, they feel like they are ready to take over, like they are ready to go and conquer the world, ready to run their business, ready to show up and show out in their everyday life in every single part and facet of it. And then I would utilize Instagram heavily and would probably spend a lot of time there. Right now, and I know I talked to you about this, but depending on who the business owner is, TikTok could also be a great opportunity there with making and creating the jewelry, lots of behind the scenes, fun scenes of like people putting on the jewelry and like what their before and afters would be. It's like before I put on this jewelry, this is how I was feeling, and then I put it on and boom, you know. So, thinking about that's probably what I would do on TikTok to put like a lot of fun content out that way, and then transferring that over to Instagram as well. And then I would probably run, I love series, so I would probably run a series on Instagram that was partnering with men and women that navigate their lives in that sense of, I'm conquering life right now. And so I would highlight faces of that consistently through either stories or Instagram Live or through the content on the feed. But Instagram and TikTok is probably where I would go with those to market them.
Whoa.
So I don't know whose business that is.
So excited.
Run with it. Let me know how it goes.
So wait, so Miss Teresa Green said, she just blessed me and my team. Amen. Come through, Faith Steppers. Now, what I did not mention, Miss Teresa Green has over 600 people on her team.
Oh, wow. Oh,
You hear me? 600 people on her team. So she says, thank you.
you're very welcome. And you've got the manpower. So honestly, especially with social media, the more time that you can put into it, hire out. So hire somebody for Instagram. If you decide to do TikTok, hire somebody to do that. A lot of people think, you know, oh, I'm just going to go and market my business online. When it's time for me to hire somebody, I'm going to hire one person to do it all. When your best bet is to find specialists that are specializing in those. You don't go to a general practitioner expecting your general practitioner to handle every part of, you know, your body. The same thing is going to go for your business. So separate those out and find the people that specialize in them, including if you're doing ads, you know, whatever the case may be, and you're more likely to get better results, in my opinion.
Awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. I can't wait to hear how that revolutionizes her business. I'm just sitting and waiting. Chanel, do you have anything to add?
Yes. So when I heard she decided to go down the route of costume jewelry, I thought of, okay, the bright, but then I know it pertains to men. So the colors that I would go for is more blacks and grays, and maybe a splash of like a deep green, only because you don't want it to just be for the female side. And with men, they wear a lot of those grays, they wear a lot of those black jewelry. So you want to be able to add a little bit of color, but that can be, okay, I can see it as a women's jewelry, that luxury, the gold and the greens, the really deep greens. And then the man, yeah, I can see where it's that manly feel. It's not too bright, it's not too girly. So you do want to be careful with your color palette when you are trying to attract both a man and woman. When I thought of the logo, I immediately thought for this brand in particular, I would go with a winter season, only because that winter season, I feel like it's more subtle. You have the blacks, you have the whites, you can incorporate that, and it's a little bit more white spacey feel for it. But I did think of that. I thought of the logo would be black and gray or some kind of a gray. You don't want it to be, like I said, too on the feminine side if your focus is both men and women, depending on what the jewelry is also. I would just go with a text logo for this, only because I think of simplicity. I think of, okay, how is this logo going to be put? If you want to have a little icon, you can have that depending on the jewelry, because some may emboss a ring, may emboss the ring, or may have the name on a bracelet. Depending on the jewelry, you want to think of, how is this going to be placed? On what is it going to be placed? Is it going to be placed on a box to present the jewelry in? You know, what are the different elements that you are going to use this logo for? But I think of just luxury, and winter, that winter gives me that luxury feel, that cool, strong, intense. So that's kind of where I went when I went down that line. I thought of, okay, where is this logo going to be placed? That was my first instinct. What kind of jewelry is it going to be? You know, how is the jewelry going to be designed? So you just, those are some things to consider. As for the logo, I say text because you also want to deep dive into that, because you want to understand, okay, is this a name that represents maybe a symbol or some kind of icon where you can do a play on that? So that's where I was going on that track.
Okay. Valuable information. They're saying, I am soaking all this also awesome knowledge. Wow, this is great. So out of the box. Love it. All right, Lucy, now how do you design the website?
Sure. I think for this jewelry line, since it is, I guess, costume jewelry, bold design, I really want really good big images on there. I feel like the images will be really important and they can be really bold and fun. As far as the shopping experience, since there are men and women, I would definitely separate those categories out into 2 pages and have them at the top of the menu. That way it's easy for people to go in and locate exactly what they're looking for. And then probably on the home page, creating some sort of design that's easy to change out with different featured products or I guess seasonal lines. That would be important too.
Okay.
I'm thinking.
Okay, I like that, being able to kind of switch out and swap out with whatever comes in, but keeping it simple enough to know, okay, this isn't going to stay the same throughout.
Yeah, I'd probably also keep the colors on this site fairly simple, especially if the jewelry has a lot of color in it, because I feel like the jewelry would speak for itself and you wouldn't need all of the colors throughout the site.
This is good. Y'all are amazing. It sounds like y'all know what you're doing. Like you really know what you're doing. I have kind of a question, shifting gears just a little bit. What about the business who has had one design, one logo, and now they're considering pressing pause and rebranding? How do I go about that process of rebranding? I've had this, my customers know me by this, or maybe customers don't know you at all. And this is the reason why a business needs to rebrand. Can you all speak to that? What are some steps to take to start that rebranding process?
I mean, the first question I would ask is, why are you rebranding? What is the purpose or the intention behind it? I think sometimes we are so close to our businesses that we see things all the time, and so we may get tired of something, or we may get that FOMO, that fear of missing out and looking at other people's stuff. So being very intentional with, why am I rebranding? And then really kind of taking that same direction of, well, if my business is growing up, because that's typically a point where it happens, my business is growing up.
Wow.
And I am changing and I am evolving, and my business needs to do the same. I really think about businesses and our brands as people. I think that that's the easiest way for any of us to remember a lot of the things that we've spoken about today. You have an internal part of yourself as a person where you have a personality, and you have an external part of yourself that is typically driven by that personality. Your business is the same way. You have an internal piece for your business, which is your personality. It's your values, it's your mission, it's all these things that are driving who you are as a business. And then you then dress yourself up based off of that. So same as people, we go through phases of our lives where we grow up and we grow. We do the same thing in entrepreneurship. So the question is that within my time of evolving, am I staying the same? Am I growing? Am I pivoting my business? Am I offering something new? And what am I changing about my business? Why am I changing this about my business? And then how do I want to now be perceived? How do I want to be perceived? What do I want to be known for? And who do I want to attract? And then starting down the funnel.
And just to piggyback off what Amber is saying is, I wouldn't say when it comes to like even your visual aspects, don't pause, just transition. So as you're going through this rebrand phase, you can easily keep posting, doing what you're doing, and then have a reintroduction. This is now the brand I'm going, once everything is done, it's like a reintroduction, or gear your audience up for what's new with our brand. We have some great new things coming for you guys. We can't wait to show you our new look. And boom, you transition, you showcase your new logo, and then you just, from there on, you can start posting your new visual elements, your color palettes, different things on your Instagram, because you're obviously, once you rebrand, you're changing up your whole overall look. So you want that to kind of take place on your Instagram. So just transition.
That's good. That's really good. You just helped me because my mindset was we're used to pause. I'm used to pausing.
Right.
We'll be back, out for lunch. Can't do that, huh?
So it's important to share that, right? So that's what we have social media for. Like, that's how you bring in, and that's how you build relationships with your audience on social media. So if you are a business, you've been, in business for a little bit, and you are refreshing and you are pivoting, don't hesitate to bring your followers along on that journey. If you are changing your colors, talk to them, poll them, ask them, show them all the behind the scenes. I think traditional business is like tight-lipped, behind closed doors, don't look at me. But social media has allowed that curtain to be pulled up, and it's a way to help people see what's going on and to feel connected for you and to get excited for what you have coming up, so that you don't have to push pause. You're talking about it. It's a part of the conversation, and that it makes the unveiling that much more excited because now your audience is invested in that.
Right. And people love an authentic brand. So once they see that you are you aren't just a robotic, oh, I post here, I post there. They want to see who you really are. Who's behind the brand is really what they're trying to see. What's going on behind the scenes. And I think in this day and age, people love to see that, and they feel like they're making a connection with that.
Yeah, I think that circles back to that first question, or one of the questions earlier, about how to get clients or how to get work through social media. And I think a lot of it is through connection and people emotionally connecting to you.
I think that's what's different about 2020 and branding and marketing. I think we saw that a little bit when famous actors and actresses and people in the press had their own social media accounts that they were managing. And we were able to take a peek behind, like you said, the curtain. The curtain is now raised, and we could see, that's what you look like with no makeup on. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. So I love that idea of letting our customers transition with us so that they feel connected, and they might even feel like, oh, I had a little thing to do with that little transition. I gave them my 2 cents, and I told them that I like this image better than I like that image. And look, they chose what I said. See, they do listen to me. Let me go ahead and purchase something. I mean, I never thought of it like that.
Yeah, I was just thinking that specifically, there's a planner company that I really like, and she always polls her audience on what colors should we launch for the next year. Like, you can choose. And I think that's a really good sales tactic too, because people, have a part in selecting the colors for the product. And then if the product that they want, if it goes into production and it's that color, then they'll buy it. So, yeah.
And would you say, there's a question, I'm going to incorporate the question. Would you say that this is a way to keep the business fresh, to keep the brand popping, to keep it so it doesn't become stale, but it becomes or it continues to be fresh?
Without a doubt. Transparency, and going back to one of your other questions as well, is like, how do you make sure that you are setting your brand apart? And me mentioning that you are a part of that is being very authentic and staying yourself, and continue to grow and create relationships with your audience. And you'll find that you'll get more growth the more that you develop those relationships, whether you are a personal brand or not. So whether you are the face of your business or not, you get to decide how transparent you want to be. But that transparency and authenticity allows people to connect with you. And when people feel connected to you, they're invested to you, which is going to increase their loyalty to your brand.
I think that that's a great way to segue into our closing tips, because y'all been giving out tips all night long. What are some final thoughts that you might have? And I want you to, I'm gonna give you a moment to think about those final thoughts, because I want you to really give us those final thoughts that will take us to that next level. While you're thinking, if you all have been blessed tonight and you feel that tonight has changed the trajectory of your company, then I challenge you to sow back into Shekinah Glory Cathedral. This tonight, and like I said, last week I sold, I'm gonna testify in 2 seconds. I sold last week, not Michonne Shaw. My business sold last week back into Shekinah Glory. Do you know, in less than 7 days, I received, not I, my business received our biggest order yet. Our biggest order yet. So don't tell me that because I sold that has not, no. When I sold, I expected God to do something big in my business. And the notes, the pages of notes that I've been taking tonight, I got to sow again tonight and expect a harvest. If you've been blessed, you have opportunities to sow via Cash App, and that's the money sign SG Church. Real simple, SG Church. So by Cash App, you can go on our website, sgchurch.net, click giving and sow there. You can download the Givelify app and sow, or you can mail in a money order or a check to our address, 402 West English Street, Plant City, 33563. I'm sowing again tonight. And if you have connected with these 3 business-minded entrepreneurs who are not even working their former 9-to-5 job, I believe 2 out of 3 of you are full-time in your business. Am I correct?
One left.
One left.
One left.
She's coming real soon. We declare she is coming off that 9-to-5 before she knows it. It's getting ready to happen. So if you feel like you want to connect and gain more knowledge, more information, please connect with them. As they're giving their final tips, give us either your social media handle or how we can connect with you. So Amber, what are your final tips and how do we connect with you?
Yes. So my final tips will be to stay connected to yourself. Don't try to be like anybody else. If you are finding that you are comparing yourself consistently to other businesses and other brands, unfollow them immediately. Don't even allow that to be something that is a part of your everyday life. So don't get stuck scrolling on other people's stuff. You have a business to run. You don't have time for that. And then to select 1 to 2 social media platforms and don't try to be everywhere online. It will make growing your business so much harder when you are trying to, especially if you are running something by yourself, if you are trying to be all over the place at one time. So figure out who your target market is, who your ideal customers are, figure out where they are hanging out online and go there and put your energy there. And then, yes, you can come and hang out with me. I spend a lot of my time in 2 places on social media because I'm by myself. Well, I just hired a virtual assistant, but I am mainly by myself. And so I spend my time on Instagram. And so you can find me on Instagram at Brand Girl Magic. And then on Facebook, I spend my time in my Facebook group. And you can search the Content Lounge to come and hang out with me there.
Awesome. Thank you.
In the comments.
Yes, please do. Please do. All right. Chanel, your final thoughts, your final words of advice, and where can we find you?
Yes. So my final words is you want to think of branding like a house. You shouldn't build a house without a blueprint. So you want to always, have a design and a brand with intentional strategy. So when it comes to your logo, you want to be sure it's simple and it's clear. When it comes to your color palette, you want to be sure, if it's easiest way to put it is pick which season represents your brand and the audience you are trying to attract. Then, and it comes to your design elements, you want to be sure that you don't always need a pattern, you don't always need an icon, but you want those design elements to be cohesive. You want to make sure it represents everything that you're already creating. And then just to put it all together, just always be consistent. Be consistent, as Amber said, on social media. You want to be sure you're putting your brand out there so people start to recognize your brand and who you are. And just bring yourself to the forefront. Don't always stay behind your logo. And if you want to reach me, you can reach me at Chanel Designs with a Z on Instagram. And that's where I'll be mainly. I'll be starting also YouTube. So you can probably find me over there in the next few weeks at Chanel Designs for YouTube.
Awesome. Ooh, I can't wait. Let us know when that comes out. I will ride with YouTube on. You got tips going. I'm riding and using my time, listening. I said, okay, okay. So yes, let us know when that happens.
Yes.
So we have you at Chanel Designs, okay, and also you're on Facebook. So we've added that. And your website?
My website is ChanelDesigns with a Z.com. So instead of S, it's a Z.
Awesome. Great. We have that on there. You all check her out. And Lucy, tell us, what are some of your final thoughts and where can we find you?
Sure. For your website, I think my final thoughts are always making sure that you're telling a story, thinking about the purpose of your website and what you're wanting to share on it, making sure it's really easy to navigate and making sure it's really easy for people to find their way around. It's sort of like reading a book, you know, like on your menu, reading left to right, or I guess going top to bottom and paying attention to the order of things. That would probably be the most important. And tying it into consistency is making sure that your website looks the same as your social media, making sure everything matches.
Awesome. Thank you. Where can we find you?
And you can find me mostly on Instagram, and I'm at Hello Lucy with an I. Usually on there, I talk a lot about just running a business and a lot of business tips, as well as usually if I'm working on projects, I like to share behind the scenes and what I'm working on. And my website is hellolucy.com with an I.
I love it. With that gorgeous smile right there on the website, right when you see it, right when you open it up. I love it. Ladies, hold that thought. Check us out on tomorrow, Shekinah Glory. We are in our community. We're in the heart of our community here in Plant City, Lakeland, surrounding areas, Tampa, Riverview. We have fresh food, fresh groceries, fresh fruit, fresh vegetable boxes. We have given out this week, we'll make almost 1,200 boxes that we have given out every week on Wednesdays. So please tell a family member, share it with a friend, let them know they can come and pick up food boxes. There's no questions asked except how many people are in your family so that we can adequately supply your family with fresh dairy, fresh cheese, fresh meat. Y'all got to come and get some good food on tomorrow. And then on Sunday, join us. We have service in Spanish at 11 a.m. on Facebook. That's Iglesia Shekinah Gloria. Join us. If you have friends or family that speak Spanish, tell them to join in our service, and then our worship service in English at 12:30. We are so glad that you have taken the time. For those of you, I see some of you who are just able to join us. If you don't do anything else tonight, when this ends, you have got to stop what you're doing, go back and hit rewind and watch this from the jump. There has been life-changing, life-altering, trajectory changers. Y'all are change agents. The three of you all, y'all are change agents. I am just honored to have been in your presence tonight because you truly have given us food for thought. And I'm not just going to think, I'm going to act. So I don't know about you viewers, what y'all going to do with it. But I know what me and my business we about to do. And like I said, you better sow because I guarantee you, you're sowing into good ground. Our pastor has given up his Tuesday night Bible study nights because he wants the people to be empowered. So sow back into where you have received your blessing on tonight. To Amber, I speak blessings over you. Matter of fact, we're going to pray. I speak blessings over you, Amber. I speak blessings over you, Chanel. I speak blessings over you, Lucy. So do this. Let's pray. Father, in the name of Jesus Christ, we thank you, Lord. We thank you that you have used these young, fresh minds to impart wisdom into our business. We know that you desire for us to be prosperous. And so we thank you that you have used these change agents on tonight. So God, right now, I speak expansion over the businesses of Brand Girl Magic, Chanel Designs, and Hello Lucy. I speak collaborative projects in the millions of dollars, oh God. In the name of Jesus, I thank you in advance for you are putting them in front of the right people. They've been in front of the right people already, but God, you're getting ready to wow them. You're getting ready to expand their faith and their belief in you. And God, I thank you when you do it, you're going to get the glory. I thank you for profitable years. Yes, Lord. I thank you for thousands of dollars, millions of dollars in income that they are going to receive, Lord. I continue to cover them, Lord. I continue to pray for them, that you will get the glory out of their business. We give you all of the glory. We take no credit for ourselves, but we acknowledge that it is in you that we live, that we move, and that we have our being. So Lord, I thank you for exponential growth. I thank you for the viewing audience who has received the words. And I thank you that you're inspiring us, showing us, leading us, telling us where to go, what to do next, and who to connect with next. Lord, we praise you, we honor you, and we bless you. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Ladies, thank you so much. To our interpreters, thank you so much. You all be blessed. We will see you again on Sunday and see you next week, Tuesday. You don't want to miss next Tuesday. Listen, we've got an investor coming to talk about all these millions of dollars that y'all are receiving into your businesses and into your life, how to invest it, and how we are going to continue to grow and have generational wealth. You all be blessed. May God prosper you. In Jesus' name is our prayer. Good night.